Why knowledge matters.
Yeah, that's a really nice way to put it. I want to just a little bit digress, and just I want you to give your take on social media and how you handle it from a personal perspective, and then how schools, handle it, and the complexity that comes into with social media, and just learning in general for especially our younger kids,
Yeah.
especially middle school, high school, and the detrimental impact it might have. I think largely we have the data. I think it's just a new book, the Anxious Generation by Jonathan Haidt, is, I think it's very revealing, and it's not really a surprise, but it also shows how troubling this is. And we all, even myself, I have to be very, very disciplined
Right.
to really stay away from social media, and if I do not have this discipline and these it's really about you how to organize yourself, your room where you live in, right? Then it's so hard. No one can really almost resist to it, because
Right.
it's
Right.
really, it's addictive, right?
Yeah. No, it was a much easier time. I wouldn't say that I can say this is exactly how I think it should go. It's so complex. I've spent a lot of time in different levels of meetings. I've spent a lot of time in my own research and in my own. I've been on social media looking about information about social media and looking at the research, and um, it's tough. I mean, I was thinking recently when I had little children at home, we decided to move the TV out of our main living areas. So we had to go to the spot if we're going to watch TV, and kids had to ask permission, and it was limited, and it was all this. I had control over that, and I'm so grateful that we did that many years ago. That was I haven't been bombarded by the 24-hour news cycle for 20 years. My husband went to Iraq um, when my children were little, and I got off of the 24-hour news cycle. I just couldn't watch the commentary while my husband was in harm's way. And I got completely out of that habit and have not gone back. I don't have a desire to um, be cajoled by that particular form of media. Um, and it was a struggle every step of the way to have teenagers with access to social media. And then when on top of COVID, when I had my own children in my own home, I didn't excel at making sure I tried all sorts of different ways to limit and and keep that. And I had 2 girls, there's the data's even stronger on your girls and how difficult it is in social media, and I am a believer. I think that social media was really hard on both of my girls in their teenage years. Um, and the more we know, we keep finding out that it's hard for everyone, and the schools do all sorts of things to keep it to a minimum and to keep firewalls up, etc. And I think the schools are doing a valiant job. And sometimes parents are supporting that, and sometimes parents are thwarting and working around it. And that's
Mhm.
part of being a public system is um, everybody has their approach, and we are trying to honor everybody and protect everybody, and it's complex. It's a really difficult process. I applaud some of the legislation that I've heard discussed recently, where um, we can be harder on the different platforms that are letting kids on and justifying that. And there's no justification for a 13, 14-year-old to be on some sites, and certainly not younger than that either. And so I applaud that the adults in the room are still having those conversations and really grappling and trying to figure out what this is supposed to look like for kids. And I'm very hopeful that we'll just keep grappling, and that we'll get way better at it every time we're in a room discussing it, because it's complex, and there's privacy and safety and time wasting, and there's just so much to it, and so many good things. We have all sorts of tutorials and opportunities for students that I could never have dreamed of. So, oh, what a balancing act. So I did not answer your question because I don't have an answer. So
No, you absolutely did, because it's really about protection. That's what I hear from you, protecting our children, our most vulnerable members of our society. Last but not least, Karen, what makes you feel alive?
um, sometimes it's hiking up a mountain, and sometimes it's being in a great conversation. And usually I would say it's being in a great conversation, reading a great book, and then being able to turn to somebody in a book club, or just picking up the phone, or talking to my spouse, or just I love a good conversation. I don't even have to be right. I just want to think. I just want somebody to say, "What do you think of this? How about that? What does that look like? What is it? What could we do with that? What could we dream?" I love the um just a good conversation where I've seen somebody else's perspective, and I've heard somebody else's dreams. I have 8 sisters. I'm blessed to have 8 sisters, and um I have gained so much from being able to stand right next to them in their lives and feel the pain sometimes with what's going on with their children, or with their marriages, or with their um, successes, their disappointments. And I love to walk side by side people living their authentic lives, and that's what keeps me going.
That's why knowledge matters. Make your life a masterpiece. Visit now programs.d-ykm.com.